Goliath, I'ma slay my own dragons, dragging out my words like drag racing a jag. With the friend Freemason, I'm relaying the facts. 808s add to a 4-4 clap, that's basic math. My past a winding road, but I can find my home like Dorothy and some slippers standing on a tippy toes. You pushing yellow bricks, we in a fellowship of souls, where anyone could die like a Game of Thrones episode. Yo, you never know it till it's too late. Me, I flip a coin with heads on either side of it like I'm Two-Face, living up out of a suitcase. My closet seems scarier now. Too many skeletons in it, it's like a burial ground. Y'all need a Ouija board whenever we record. Y'all get the heebie-jeebies, say that boy's a heathen and he needs the Lord. But I know God up on a first name basis. Still don't got no entourage to show me Vinny Chase love. It's still me, Major, connected to the universe. For the afterlife, I'm only here collecting souvenirs. So who's the weirdest boy you see? Me, you probably right. Pretentious, what I say, yo mama not gon' like. Namaste, wearing moccasins. Assalamu alaikum, reading Alan Watts, singing like Shaka Khan with my chakra bright. A starving artist giving food for thought to feed your appetite. It's yin and yang, so what I'm saying is only half is right. Like, I've been told a lot of things before. I'm not sure if I can make my mind up. I've been beaten, bruised and sore. I'm still trying to hold my light up. Hold my light, 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 God, I've been told a lot of things before. I'm not sure if I can make my mind up. I've been beaten, bruised and sore. I'm still trying to hold my light up. Hold my light, 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 God.
What's going on? What's going on? Welcome back to another live stream here. If you're new, my name is Zach. This is Real Deal Futures. Making sure my mic is on. First off, market's opening right here, right now. Make sure you read this screen. Trading's risky. Most traders lose money. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice or suggestions or recommendations of any kind. Everything you see, hear me do is for entertainment purposes only. Make your own trading decisions. And read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is in funded prop firm accounts. We are in the sim environment here on my TopstepX 50K account. Going to be trading a 50K XFA. Let me just go ahead and mute this. Cool. Let's see. Market's opening up to the downside. I'll give you guys my analysis quick here. See if I can grab onto a trade. Unlike yesterday, missing a really, really nice entry point. If you go back through, I'm just going to move my mic around. This thing's loud as heck. If you go back through yesterday's live, you'll see me not take the long, waiting for a small pullback, waiting for an ideal area for entry, and didn't get it, and then watched the market run. Frustrating session. Didn't end up calling out trades into the afternoon as I was on meetings, but I don't mind sharing with you guys. I went 0 for 2. Ended up being a red day. Not super fun, but that's part of the game, man. That's part of the game. So we're here on the 15-minute chart, taking a look at MNQ, the futures contract for NASDAQ. We have FOMC later today. Let's talk about news real quick as the market's selling off. Before we do that, I'm just going to give you guys my initial thesis. Let me not talk about news yet. FOMC later, 2 p.m. rate release and 2:30 p.m. conference. It's important to know that. We've got some stuff at 10:30, I believe, as well, orange folder. So looking at the daily, we know what happened here. Monday opened up, big gap to the downside, huge sell-off, and found some buyers down here. This was fueled, not that it really matters, but allegedly fueled by some info on AI models out of China. NVIDIA sold off, like I think at its lows, it was like 17% or something like that down. Obviously, we got a rally after that, right? Buyers stepped right back in. They said, nope, we're not just going to blast this to the downside, at least not yet. And we pushed up yesterday, had a nice rally, throughout the day after a sell-off at the open. Somewhat of a small daily candle forming so far, right? We can look at that from the outside. If we look at the hourly, just zooming in slowly, we can see the trend that we formed since we bottomed out on that sell-off, or at least put this low in. Not quite, bottomed out is probably more than we need to state here. But we pushed up. Sell-off at the open yesterday, and then a continuation to the upside. If we look at the 15-minute, You can take a look at the overnight session. Somewhat bullish, right? Pretty choppy through Asia. A pop here at 1 a.m. Don't know exactly what that was, but choppy after that, above VWAP, and we are opening up to the downside here. I am anticipating, and I'll tell you why I'm anticipating. I'm anticipating a potential move to the upside again today. Why? Basic market structure and price action. We are in an uptrend, what I would call an uptrend, on much, much, much higher time frames, right? We're here on the U.S. indices. Stocks are going up, right? We zoom way, way back out. We're still nice and bullish, right? We're not in a massive recession, massive correction just yet. That's way higher time frame. As we start to zoom in, we've been kind of consolidating, choppy back and forth, but this was somewhat of a downtrend, right? You could say, hey, Zach, that's lower highs, right? And lower lows getting put in. We started to break that here to the upside, right? When we cracked above this, formed this nice uptrend, zooming in even more, right? Multiple trends that we can talk about. And sold off super, super, super aggressively. And market said, hey, that was kind of a knee-jerk reaction. And, we pulled right back up. As we start to zoom in, right, we held that. Since we put this low in here, failing to get below this low over here, and this low back over here, right, higher time frame lows, looking at the 15-minute way zoomed out, we held a nice uptrend here. We are coming into an FOMC rate decision and a lot of earnings. I'm still looking at this long, right? If we absolutely rip to the downside, start blasting lower, blast below prior day's low, yes, I'm looking short. But for right here, right now, I'm looking at somewhat of the same thing that I was looking at when I logged on here and jumped on with you guys live yesterday that I just didn't capitalize on, right? I was waiting for a deeper pullback that didn't come. I was really waiting for a pullback down here, maybe a sweep below, this low from the prior day. But we did get a pullback and then a rally, right? And I was working in here on the 15-minute, 5-minute, waiting for an entry, and just missed my shot for a beautiful push to the upside. I'm looking at something similar today. So here's what I'm okay with coming into the market, not forming an insane bias because I'll still jump in short. We start to sell off, massively aggressively. I'm not going to look long just yet, but here's what I'm looking for. Exactly what we're seeing now. Sell off at the open. Maybe a further sell off to this area here, right? Level of structure, right? Level of high volume on our visible range volume. Visible range volume profile, visible range. And then a push to the upside, right? I'm going to be looking long all the way through this level. I'd even consider long all the way down here. I think that would be a really, really big move to the downside. So I would start to get cautious there. We sell off, 300 points. We are opening up on a massive down day. But I'm going to be looking long anywhere between this area as we start to push back up. If we get what we get yesterday, and we just push back up, I'm probably going to jump in and get a stop loss down below here. Reviewing my trades from the higher time frame. Again, holding on to them. I was talking about this yesterday, holding on to them. For big moves, not managing them. That's step one for sure. After reviewing yesterday, not just getting hindsight bias, I was waiting for a specific entry here, and that's okay, right? Not quite a missed trade if you didn't get your trade, if the market didn't do what you needed it to do. But jumping in right here, right around that area after I got the pullback and big push back up, that would have been okay. If I had to get stopped out here because the market's going to wick down first and then continue, so be it. Maybe I have to try it a second time. But that was a tough missed opportunity to watch the market rally after that. But that's okay, right? That's what we do here. Review, journal, reflect, and then leave it in the past. So again, the market doesn't always do exactly what you want it to do, right? We might not exactly pull right down to some level that I have marked on my chart, and instead we might just sweep below overnight lows, very similarly to what we did the day before, and then find some buyers. I'm okay with that. Looking at Bookmap, we have quite a bit of orders at the 500 level. I can mark that on my chart. See if I'm zoomed out enough to do it. There we go. Quite a bit of orders down here at the 500 level on Bookmap. I want to see what happens if and when we get down here. I would look to enter pretty dang aggressively down at this area. really aggressively down at this area, meaning I'm not going to wait for a lot of a pushback up. Before then, I'm going to wait for a pullback down and then a continuation to the upside, similar to that move that we saw here that I did not capitalize on. Again, if we really start to come, if we're trend line guys, right? We're looking at this maybe as a trend. If we really start to break that down, maybe you want to use an anchored VWAP off of this low, which I haven't used in quite a while. We start to come through this level really aggressively. And down below, I'd have a stop loss somewhere down here if I had already gotten long, because I think I'm wrong, right? I think we're going to continue lower. I'm dead wrong on this move, at least for the time being. And, market's showing us sellers back in control. We want to head for lower prices. But we pull back and then continue, again, anywhere within this area here. I'm really looking long. We start to turn at any point and head back up towards highs. I'm looking long with stops below lows. That's my initial setup here. Outside of us selling really aggressively, let's say through the 350s, 300s, like really aggressively to the downside, another 200 points from here, 150 to 200 points, I may be looking short. But along with all this comes discretion, right? The intuition built through time on the charts, built through your experience. And I use that to read momentum and volume, right? It's kind of a different, it depends on how we get down here, right? It'd be kind of a different story if we opened up and we were already, 300 points lower. We knifed to the downside. I might not say, hey, I want to jump right in. My thesis still holds. I think we're going to move long. I might wait a little bit longer, right? Conversely, if we kind of chop around a little bit, maybe we drift lower, I may say, you know what, I'm going to wait for more structure. So where I'm not a machine here. I'm using my discretion, my intuition for my advantage most of the time. And, that's where that comes into play. So that's what I'm looking at off the bat. Good morning. Good morning, Michael. What's going on? Good morning, guys. Now that we got through that for 10 minutes, we have news today. We got two marked down here, right here, and here. 10:30 a.m., we have crude oil inventories. And then 2 p.m. today, we have the FOMC rate and statement. And then 30 minutes after that, 2:30 p.m. Eastern, we have the press conference where Jerome Powell talks. That is typically a big market mover, right? We had 10 a.m. news yesterday. It also made it a little bit tricky. I added for a little bit of hesitation down here, so I'll cut myself a little bit of slack. But we had 10 a.m. news yesterday. Red folder. I did say, somebody asked in the chat, I think it was one of you guys that are on here, would you get long or, get into a position before that red folder news? Yes, I would. And I mentioned that, if the setup's there, I want to get in. I'm running wider stop losses, wider take profits. I'm holding trades for longer. That said, I also anticipated yesterday's news to be somewhat mild based on the type of news event that it was. FOMC, right? Fed rate statement is a big market mover. It's traditionally a large change in volatility. Not talking about whether it goes up or down, but just that candle that prints is typically pretty dang big. So that's something to be cautious of. I don't think you have to say, we got some volatility coming in here. 941. Let's see. Yeah, not a whole lot down here at 500, but a nice round number. I'll leave that on there. See what happens when we come down to it. Again, this is the level that I'm looking at, as a pretty clear line in the sand, right? Off of these highs from the 27th and the 28th, yesterday and the day before, area that we broke, retested, and then pushed off from really aggressively for a nice leg up. I think a retest of that, just higher time frame break and retest, right? We know how the market likes to move. Could be a pretty serious entry for a long. Do I want to enter right there on the way down, buying into selling pressure? Not really. Depends on what it looks like down there. But I'll call that what I'm doing. I'd like to get long for today. I think we could see a large movement. And again, so building off that FOMC statement, yeah, I think we come lower. We come and check out the 400s, but not yet. Building off that FOMC rate statement, and then conference. Let's say I find my way in long right here, right? Coming into that afternoon event, If I'm anywhere near my invalidation point, I'm going to look to get out of the trade. If I'm, chopping around break even and I didn't get a lot of progress, maybe I do the same. Maybe there's an instance where I size down, I cut my position size in half, and I widen out stop loss and take profit because I still believe in the trade idea. I still like the direction. I still want to get long. I don't want a specific event to have to take me out without my trade playing out, but I account for that increase in volatility. Maybe I'm in long and I'm in profit. I go stop loss to break even or risk free or reduce risk, and I leave the trade on. I don't think there's a wrong way to handle it. I just think that you have to expect an increase in volatility and an uncertain, an unpredictable amount of change, right? It's very difficult to say, well, the next candle is going to be 50 points and all these other candles were 20 points. You don't know exactly how that's going to come out. You know what the market's pricing in, right? They give you the expectation. It's very, very clear on this one. Not to get too much into the fundamentals, because I don't consider myself an expert in that area. I don't care to pay too much attention to it. I just like to pay attention to price. But I'm aware of this, and I'm mostly aware of how it's going to affect price. Increase in volatility at 2 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. Somewhat unpredictable. So you have to decide, am I going to leave my trades on? If I am, I better fully accept that risk because there's a chance this thing knifes right to my stop loss. And I better be aware of slippage. If I have a trade on, I stand the risk of getting slipped where an order is filled and the fill price is worse than what you would have wanted to execute at, generating a larger loss, slightly larger loss. Typically not that bad in futures. I come from the Forex world where that's an absolute nightmare, but something to be, aware of for high volatility news events. Something to be aware of. So let's see. Coming down to try these 500. Tested the 500s. Really traded right to it on this 15-minute candle. This opening 15-minute candle. Pretty weak to the downside. See, similar move out of ES. Just checking on the others. Looks like Dow popped at the open and then it sold back off. Mag 7's all red. Just to take a look. Again, I'm not the pay attention to all of the other instruments guy. It's just not my deal. I like to pay attention to one chart, keep it stupidly simple, order flow on the side. But hey, do I want to know if Nvidia's down like 15% and dragging the whole market with it, dragging the NASDAQ 100 with it? Yeah, I do. I think that could be a little bit helpful. But they're all red. Nvidia leading the way down at 2.5%. Everything else is slightly red. Most of the stuff under 1%. So we'll see what we get from here. Again, I like this thing long. I still like it long. Unless and until we absolutely sell off super, super aggressively, I would not like it long. Like I said, maybe down around the 350s to 300s. That would get a little bit sketchy. I'd love an aggressive sell-off at the open like we got here and like we got here for an opportunity to get long. And I'm going to do my best not to miss it again. I'm not entering here because I feel that we can easily move down to this area. And I don't want my entry to look like this. I don't have a way to structure risk yet. I don't want my entry to look like this or this, having an invalidation point near where I would still want to be long. I'd be much more happy. I would be actually okay with this, no problem, if we got something along these lines. If we don't do that, we pull right back up from here, different information, I'd be okay with something like this, something that, I had an opportunity on yesterday. That's my initial thesis here on the higher time frames, right? Low time frame looking weak. If I'm trading the 2-minute, 3-minute, I'm probably looking short here. Selling off right at the open. Nothing really pushing back up that says, we're ready to blast off long. At least to me. Big round psychological number, right? 21,500. You can see how it's at least holding for right now. But we'll see if we respect that or if we have some room to the downside today. But appreciate you guys hopping on. Hit the like button, subscribe, do something, help me out. You don't have to do anything, but it certainly helps me out if you find this stuff valuable. There you go. I saw a like. Appreciate you guys. Like I've been saying on here, and I'm going to repeat more often, I'm not the best trader. I don't claim to be. I don't claim to have all the answers or to know it all. I'm just happy to jump on here and be trading live free with you, showing you how and what I do. 100% free. Run a 100% free trading community where I answer questions, talk to guys, share my information, make money on the back end with affiliates, right? Partnerships with companies. And I do work with guys, advanced traders, one-on-one. If you said, hey, Zach, I like your stuff. I like what you do. I want to take your time up one-on-one, talking and really doing the difficult work that I know is needed to go into trading. I charge for that. Charge for my time. Can't physically do that for free. But everything else, free. Free 99 is the best price. That's my model. What's up? What's up? What's up, Ryan? What's up, Jose? How are we doing, guys? How are we doing on this FOMC day? I am flat. If you guys hopped on, looking somewhat long, trying not to have a repeat of yesterday where I missed a beautiful move to the upside. Waiting to see if we get a further pullback. If we don't, I'm going to look to enter long on the way back up. Right? That's my thought process. Conversely, we start to sell off super aggressively, get down below the 400s, 350s. I'm going to be cautious of that. This is pretty weak off the open. We could be setting up for a higher time frame move to the downside, right? Let's talk about the other side of our trade, or at least my bias here. Maybe this is the blast to the downside. Market says, oh, we're not so sure about that. This is going to be buying the dip, cheap buying, and sellers take it right back down and say, no way, man. This is the start of the move down. We got a crash coming in. We got half of the social media world calling for the next big rally and the next big crash. I saw that pretty much even down the middle. Is that a possibility? Sure, right? We could see another large move to the downside. New information comes out, more about that China AI model, and NVIDIA rolls over even further. That buying the dip stuff dies off, and we come lower. Possible, but for right now, higher time frame uptrend. Much higher time frame uptrend. Middle time frame uptrend. I'm looking to capitalize on this flow with the market. We can definitely see some chop, right? Ahead of, last case, up, down, or sideways. Here's the case for sideways. Ahead of FOMC, ahead of large news, oftentimes the market's choppy. It's indecisive. Market participants are waiting for that news to get out. They don't want to get involved before that news comes out. And it's just a lot of choppiness in the market, and price prints that. It's consolidation. There's not, move to be made until after that news event. So, that's a possibility. Yeah, again, guys, I still like this long. I really do. I'm going to stay patient. If we pull all the way back up, I'm going to get long on it, anticipating something like yesterday. I'm tempted to pull it from down here and allow room to the downside, but I do think we can see a further push, 115 points lower. So I'm going to be patient on it, kind of watch what happens here. We get a really similar move to yesterday. Like, this is almost identical, right? Look at this. Look at the overnight session, and then look at the open, and look at the push back up. Overnight session, open, push back up that we're seeing at least right here, right now. you have to be cautious against recency bias. That's what we call that. Having a bias to what happened most recently. It's the freshest in your memory. You kind of weight that heavier than what happens, through back testing over the last, 100 days or whatever it is. But so far, this is pretty strong to the upside. If I got long from down here, I would run this with a really wide stop loss, really, really, really wide. And I just don't know that I want to do that. See what happens. Take a look on Bookmap. Yeah, again, I'd prefer to hold long into FOMC. I see the comment. Looking for a reversal, but not sure. We get the volume now. Yeah, not 100% sure. Again, I'm going to stay patient on this. My long entry is either going to be up here, down here, or on the way back up from a further push down. That's what I'm looking at. I'm going to be as clear as I can with what I'm thinking. What I'm planning on doing. If I wanted to get long from down on this level, thinking we're going to find support around the 500s, now is the chance. It's not a entry on the move back up, and it's not an aggressive entry at a low enough point where I say, hey, I'm willing to jump in now. Wide stop loss. If we knife through this, I'm dead wrong. I'd have to run a really wide stop loss because I still want to be long down here. Again, conversely, we push back up, we get different data. Buyers start taking it higher. We put the low in, and we got an invalidation point below that. That's kind of the thought here. But yeah, I prefer to be long on U.S. indices into financial news. Again, I don't try to predict it. It's I think it's a very difficult game to play to try to say, well, here's the expected, here's the forecast, and then here's the actual, and here's how the market should react based on all this information. It's tricky, man. It's tricky to do that. Let's see what we get here. Let's see what we get. We pull a sweep of the lows and then crack back up again. Buyers take it higher. Maybe I look to get long on the way up. Give me a little bit more indication that, we are going to hold down here. Still give the trade room to come back down and chop around. But we'll see what we get out of this one. Again, initial thesis is long based on this market structure and price action and the higher time frame market structure price action. This is weak off the open, right? If I'm trading real low time frames, I'm going to be paying closer attention to this downtrend. This, to me, is a nice pullback in my uptrend. That's why it depends on what time frames you're trading, right? And how long you're planning on holding your trades, how you want to structure them. Are you trading really low time frames? Trading the 30-second chart? I don't know. Maybe there's an uptrend right here on this individual 5-minute candle that I'm watching. So, it all depends on what you're watching. Nice. Small scalp. Green on the day. Beautiful. Love to hear it, guys. Love to hear it. Again, if you're on here, man, appreciate you hanging out with me, watching the market, getting ready to get a trade on. Hit like, hit subscribe. I'm going to be on here 9:30 every day. Free. Trading NYSE open. And if you're not in the free Discord, feel free to hop in the free Discord. I will link that for you guys. 1,400 members. Getting closer to 15. We got a lot of people joining. Trade ideas. Talking about the markets. Talking about the good, the bad. Everything that goes into trading. Discounts to all your favorite props. Boom. Be happy to have you guys in. And if you trade with prop firms, you use any paid software, feel free, use code RDF for max discounts. And or hit the link down below. There's links for a bunch of them. I'm going to be testing out a whole bunch of new stuff coming up myself. Got a whole bunch of fun stuff in the works, but right here, right now, trading with TopStep, the top dogs. But there's a bunch down there. If you like this platform, if you like TopstepX, it is the Project X platform, and there are additional prop firms that you can utilize. Interesting to learn about that. So back down towards these lows, not blasting off, right? Like not a huge reversal candle, still drifting lower. This still feels somewhat weak until we start to come all the way back up. Gonna stay patient. Thesis remains the same so far. Initial trade idea remains the same. Looking long on higher time frame market structure and price action for a push to the upside after a pullback on the open. It's extremely similar, eerily similar to what we saw yesterday, which I did not capitalize on. Again, like I talked about, recency bias is a real thing. We tend to think that what just happened is going to happen again. And you can overweight, right? Place too much importance on yesterday or that week and forget about all of the, the trading that you've done over the last years of time and start trying to, adapt to the market too aggressively. So it can be important because the market does change. It's dynamic. You do have to adapt. If you're discretionary, it can be very helpful to have that flexibility, but you have to do it within reason, right? If you're changing too much every day, in my humble opinion, you're not applying that consistency. So it's a challenge, but something to pay attention to. Again, I'm just watching this a little bit closely because it looks like we want to try it, man. It looks like we want to form something extremely similar to yesterday. I'm gonna get long on the way back up to VWAP. That's my game plan. I think I'm gonna have to on this one. What is this gonna look like if we continue to push here? This is the tough part. I really don't want to be out down here at all. So it just gives me a not great risk structure. Do I think we can run? Absolutely. I think we can continue this move to the upside and, have a similar structure as yesterday. I just think, I would totally be okay with us coming down here. I think it doesn't really break structure, doesn't do anything crazy if we slide lower. So it just makes for a really, really, really big stop loss that I don't love. Creatively managing this, you could get long on this now and go stop loss way down here with one contract, wait to see what happens, and then look to add on a continuation to the upside. You can add and draw down if you pre-plan it. I don't think that's the worst thing in the world, although it's a little bit sketchy to do. But I think I'm going to have to wait for this to show a lot of strength and then look long at a higher point and have a much cleaner level of invalidation that says, well, now that we came all the way back up, if we're going to continue, I don't think that we should come all the way back down and sweep the low. Can run it from down here. I think that's a little bit aggressive. Because, man, I think if we come below this low, we can potentially move lower. Patiently waiting for the long. Again, I'm zoomed out on the 15-minute here, right? So this is, these are large movements. We're talking fairly wide stop losses and targets on this, guys. Again, same approach that you would have to a lower time frame, just a lot higher time frame view. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to stay patient on this one again. Got to stick to my guns, man. As frustrating as it can be sometimes, to not be in a trade quickly, to not jump into a trade as I hop on here with you guys, you just got to stay patient. Sometimes that does mean watching the market move without you. You don't get the setup that you want. Sometimes you're right, and it keeps you out of a bad trade. Like maybe this thing turns and burns to the downside. And not getting long from up here works, but it also may mean, watching a potential entry right here and then a continuation to the upside. And, I have to make a decision 100 points higher, back above yesterday's high. So it's tough, but, this is an area I have marked out on my chart for a reason, right? To me, this is pretty clear. I think that could be very, very reasonable. Do we have to come down here? No. Maybe we just come right off of these highs right here. But tempted for the long. We continue to push. We continue to hold this on this 15-minute candle. I may try it from up here. Bookmap doesn't look too scary to the downside. That's a good thing. To the upside, we do have a few stacks of orders. Getting way far up there into the high 600s. Yeah, guys, talking about market's neutral. It's not out to get you. Yeah, yeah, I know. The market is neutral. Market is neutral. It's not out to get you, and it can be really hard not to feel that way. Sometimes it can be really hard not to feel like there's not somebody out there that sees your stop loss, and the market makers are taking you out of your position. That's just typically not the case. The market is neutral. It's this ever-flowing being, right? This is going to be the same for me as it is for you, and there's nothing personal. It's nothing personal. So, try not to form that unhealthy thought process on it. $5.25. Again, guys, I'm being a little bit quiet here because I'm still looking at this thing long. Eyeball and Bookmap, 25 might be a good spot. 27s rather. I'm going to get long on this from up here, guys. We're finding support. Let me, don't want to do that. I'm going to be long from 554. 554. I'm going to make a hard decision here. That would be like an insanely wide stop loss and quite a bit of risk to take on. I think what I'm going to have to do here, my game plan is the first initial thesis, and this may be like a 2-trade type of a setup, is that this is going to continue from here, that this is the pullback that we were going to see. We're going to find support, and this is going to be the entry area for a drift back higher. I do want to give us room down below these lows here in the instance that we come and check this back out. But I don't know that I'm comfortable leaving a stop loss way, way, way down below this level. So I'm doing a little bit of thesis here, and my game plan's going to be somewhere down below the 500 level by quite a few points. You know, like I think if we come another 30 points, 40 points below this low, where my stop loss is right here, I'm wrong, right? We're going to continue lower. Maybe we get a really aggressive pullback down to this zone just later in the day. We're already 40 minutes into the session, and you know, that's what we have to look for. And in that case, maybe I'm looking for a second long if the thesis still holds up. We're not just blasting lower through this zone, headed to the downside. So that's going to be my trade so far. I'm going to go 48. Let me just look on Bookmap, take another quick look. Long 2 micros, you know, again, not a massive amount of risk for the size that I'm trading these accounts. 448, 448. Yeah, 50 points down below that 500 level, below the 450s. I think if we come back down here again, I'm dead wrong. At least here, right? Thesis that we're finding some support here. Maybe we come down and check this out again, get another nice wick down below, and then continue up. Or again, I'm too early, and you know we're going to continue to hit this zone here, find some support, buyers continue. Or I'm just dead wrong, and we're going to continue to sell off today. This is going to be a down day ahead of FOMC. But it's moving slow, right? We don't have a massive amount of selling pressure. Sellers had a couple chances to take this thing lower, right? We chopped around here. If this was a break, retest, and then continuation, we could have had that really aggressively. We didn't get that yet. So again, just my discernment of price action, market structure. I'm okay from getting long up here. Again, if I have to take this loss, I probably would hang for a bit, look for a second trade, potentially, again, still looking long if we came down lower and then, more market structure price action to the upside. So that's how I'm going to run this one. Long 2 from 21,554, stop at 21,448. Ooh, aggressive turn right there. I don't love that. But going to leave the trade on. That's my game plan. We'll see what we get here from our boy NQ. Stuck to the game plan, stuck to the thesis. Again, waited for some support to be found, continuation back up. If we have to continue selling off, hit this level down here, I'd probably try it again, right? I'd probably try a second trade on it. Just depends on what happens. I wouldn't enter aggressive, super, aggressively on the way down. I'd be waiting for some structure to be found and then continuation to the upside. Or, like I said, dead wrong. We're continuing lower. But we'll let this bad boy play out. See what we get for a first trade here. So we talk about prop firms, guys. Totally up to the individual, right? So I think prop firms can be very helpful if you are a beginner and you're able to manage risk, right? You're able to say, I'm not just going to be buying and YOLOing combines because I don't have any business doing that yet. But I want to have money on the line, and I don't want to do it in a live account where I have to risk the entire account. So I think it could be a way to limit downside risk. Depends on the prop firm, depends on how aggressive you're being trading them. But I think obvious progression should be demo, right? Like don't put any money on the line until you have a basic idea of what you're doing. And then small amount of money on the line. And maybe that is in the smallest prop firm accounts that you can find, one at a time. And you structure your risk per trade and risk per day in a way where you don't blow the accounts really quickly. And maybe you're limiting yourself to $50, a month or every 2 weeks. That could be pretty nice because most guys don't start an account with $50, right? It's more than that, and it goes quickly because you're probably going to lose it. But at least you're probably only going to lose that, $50 or even cheaper. So that's kind of my thoughts there. But depends on the firm, on the style of trading, what you're going to do. There's certainly an inherent risk with prop firms, right? You're giving your money to a company, not just the market. So now you have a third piece in there. There's inherent risk with all firms, even if they are very trustworthy and been around for a long period of time. But it's up to the trader. There's pros and cons to each. I think they present a really, really cool opportunity. If you're an experienced trader and you want to have your own money on the line as well, there's definitely opportunity to do that. Most guys like myself, it's not just going to be one thing that they're doing, right? I'm going to be have an investment brokerage, Roth IRA. I'm going to have longer term holdings and stocks and equities. Find safe places to park money, T-bills, and fun stuff like that. Additional to just intraday trading. But prop firms present a pretty sweet setup, in my humble opinion. And I think that extends to both beginners all the way to advanced traders within reason, right? Because I think you can get way too focused on the upside potential as a beginner and be way too aggressive and just be blowing money looking for a lottery ticket. And as an advanced trader, I think maybe that you're struggling with these crazy rules that are not good at some firms and just really aggressive. They don't fit with your style and your approach. And had you not had those rules and more flexibility, maybe you would do well, right? So it's always a double-edged sword, but it's up to the individual trader. Do your research, decide first and foremost what you're going to allocate to trading. What is your risk capital? Whether you're trading with prop firms, whether you're trading, with your own money, that's always number one. What are you willing to lose? You could set a budget for that, weekly, monthly, yearly. It can change, but you should always have that number. And then you break that down by the month, by the week, by the day. Always look at your downside, look at the worst case scenarios. So that's kind of my thought process there. Again, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just an idiot on YouTube, guys, trading live here with you. So make sure you remember that. Don't love this price action. Would have liked to see this continue. Orders down at 470. I hate that. We got 77 on the book down below. I'm going to do what I can to not take this one off, but I don't love it so far, guys. Again, want to give it room to come below this low by a little bit. Orders on the book came on just a couple minutes ago. Yeah, a couple minutes ago down at the 470 level. I really don't love that. I think a potential to move lower is in store. I'm going to see what happens as we come back down on this one. It's not doing what I want very quickly. And I did talk about holding trades, not touching them, allowing things to just work themselves out, playing out a whole lot better in the long run. But that really is in relation to holding into the afternoon after a lot more price action is formed and not coming back to manage the trade. This looks dicey to the downside. Watch a Bookmap on my second screen here. Again, I don't love the orders down below this area of low volume. Tough decision that I'm going to have to make here. Do I manage this if it gives me an opportunity? Yeah, my hard rules are not to move a stop loss farther away, right? Like that's a pretty dead set one for me. I really, really try to avoid doing that at all cost. It's like a chess piece, right? Or checker piece. Once you set it, that's kind of the spot. You don't want to be moving it farther away. I'll always allow myself, to move it up to reduce risk on a trade, to close a trade out that I just don't feel is working anymore. And in a worst case scenario, I miss an opportunity to the upside, closing out right here, closing out down here, and I'm able to review. The risk of moving a stop loss farther away is, you take on a loss way bigger than you initially intended. And if you can avoid doing that, you're in a safe spot. But if this thing does continue this way, I am really inclined to manage it, and I may have to actively manage it, despite trying to get better at not doing it with these longer hold trades. This just isn't a massively wide stop, and we have this area down here that I'm cautious of. My thought process is I want to make that decision and either go stop loss right below the low. That says we're not going to come back down below this low. If we do, I'm dead wrong, and make this a half risk trade. Allow myself a second setup. But we'll see. We'll wait for price action. But there's a chance I manage around the lows. And by manage, I mean clipping the trade. We knife down, right? I'm leaving this risk on. Right here, right now, you acknowledge wherever your stop loss is, you better accept that number, right? That's okay. We do what we're supposed to do. That's it. If you're not accepting that number anymore, you better move that. You better move that right away. Getting close to the 10:30 time frame, we'll get initial balance out. That'll provide a little bit more structure to our trading as well. The initial balance is the 1 hour opening range, the area that price trades from 9:30 a.m. Eastern to 10:30 a.m. Eastern, right? And if we look at what that would be coming off of our 9:30 candle right here, the opening candle, and the low would be down here. A couple statistics behind that. It typically, NQ, only breaks one side of the initial balance. It does not come back and break the other side by like more than 3/4 of the time. It's a very strong stat. If and when it only breaks one side, it typically extends by a pretty decent amount. Typically doesn't just sweep it. Along with that, some more stats. Based on what side is formed first and second, it gives you an indication as which one's more likely to break. Today, the initial balance high is formed first. The initial balance low is formed second, right? Down here. This lower piece, this lower initial balance low, is more likely to break first. And we know that if and when it breaks, we typically don't come back and break the other side. And we know that if and when we break, we typically extend by a pretty decent amount. Stats from Edgeful on that one are pretty serious. There's a ton more you can look at on those stats, more information on them. But they're pretty strong, right? Does it mean it has to happen? No, right? There's 20% or more than 20% of the time where we break both sides. There's plenty of times where we break the other side first. There's plenty of times when these stats don't work out. And I don't think it's nearly enough to just say, here's the statistics on it. We have X probability of this happening every single day. Well, take a look at price action, take a look at structure. What's going on with news? What does volume look like? Where do you have areas of potential interest on your chart, support and resistance? Maybe what does order flow look like? And then frame your decision. But those are statistics over large periods of time that hold true. So it's worth acknowledging that slightly more often than not, one thing happens over another. Same stuff that you look for in patterns and in back testing. It's just displayed in statistics. But it's a pretty strong one. Pretty strong one. Keep it simple, like Zach and every good trading book says. Strategy is a small part. Mine says everything. 100%. Heard on Top Step TV once that on session volume profile, visible range volume profile, the low volume nodes act as resistance. Those high volume nodes act as magnets for price. Did I get that right? Resistance is in areas where price gets rejected. So here's kind of what we got going on here. Yeah, that's not too far off. Here's what we got going on here and how I tend to read this. First, let me reset the chart so we actually get it. Maybe let it reset. This slows stuff down for some reason. Is it going to reset? No. Maybe 5-minute will reset. Wow, is it really not wanting to reset for me? Well, I'll display what it was displaying. Here's what you got going on here. These high volume areas, these high volume nodes, these peaks, these low volume areas. High volume is displaying exactly what it means. Area of high volume. A lot of trading being taken, a lot of transacting being done. These are typically areas that price would like to return to. And if they return to, they might find some resistance or support based on where they are relative to price. That's how I utilize this. They typically line up with support and resistance zones, areas of interest, supply and demand zones, whatever you want to call them on your chart. Low volume areas are typically where price has knifed through an area, right? That's going to correlate to price action. I hate how this is coming back down on me a second time or third time. You watch this for a second, guys. I'm sorry. I'm making the decision to leave it on, at least for right now. I just don't like that if we come through this. I think we're going to head lower. 500, we got orders at 75. See what happens here right below this low. Again, leaving the conscious decision to make it on, not to get shaken out of this one. I don't like the price action, right? I really don't love the structure. As I zoom into lower time frames, this is buyers attempting to take it higher, at least right here, right now. And, here we are down at the lows of the session again, breaking the low. Again, this is a higher time frame trade, right? This is something based on higher time frame that I want to hold for a larger move. So I try to be cautious, zooming in too much. And my game plan is just going to be to leave this one on. Take the full stop if I have to. In the potential that we sweep below this low a second time and then find some buyers. But right here, right now, it looks like we want to head lower. But that's part of trading, right? We put our trades on, let them play out, take losses on the way, and hold on to our winners. Try to make them a little bit larger than our losers. Just watching Bookmap on my second screen here. Yeah, because I'm thinking I'm probably not going to get a second one on too quickly. So I'm going to be better suited just to leave this on here with you guys. I cut this one here. I'm going to be waiting for a huge push back up or a big push lower and then a big push back up. Probably not going to get that immediately quickly. Very, very quickly. So we'll leave it on. We'll take our losses on the chin, not do anything crazy. And yeah, just take our trades, man. Let's see. Do we set up for a really aggressive sell-off pre-FOMC? Is that the move we're gonna get today? I really got a feeling that if I'm stopped out of this one, I'm gonna watch the market turn, down past the 400s and start to creep back up. But we're gonna leave risk where it is right now. Coming up on 10:30. Could see some volatility into this 10:30, 11 a.m. Again, swept below the lows. Would really like to see buyers step in. We continue lower. I think we're going to continue lower very fast. I think if we crack this low again, we come back down. I am nice and wrong on this trade, and this thing is going to continue lower. Conversely, we find some support and push back up to these highs. I'm going to have a lot of faith in this trade, but decision-making time down around the lows here for NQ. So let's see what she's got for us today. But like I said, guys, it's part of trading live, right? Show you guys the wins, the losses, the break-evens, the good trade management, the bad trade management, the missed entries, full stop outs, full take profits, everything in between. And hopefully it displays what real trading looks like, right? We talk about the top guys. Most of them are under a 50% win rate. And I think most traders end up that way, especially if you're going to be a little bit more zoomed out. You're going to make your winners a little bit larger than your losers. You got to be ready to take losses half the time or more. It's a tough thing to do. It's a tough space to operate in, but that's the level of acceptance you have to have, and that's the way that you need to think about risk. Am I okay losing more than half the time, taking consecutive stop outs, with this level of risk that I have on? If not, I should probably reduce it. I'm either going to run through my capital too quickly, or I'm just not going to be able to make good trading decisions because I'm not comfortable watching, that stop loss get hit. But that's trading, guys. But if you're still on, watching me in this trade, taking some heat, hit like, hit subscribe. I'll show you guys what real trading looks like for me. Appreciate you guys being on here. Again, feel free, hop in the free Discord. Can I copy this without copying everything? No, I can't. Feel free to hop in the free Discord. Live trading every day here with you guys. Questions and answers. Community of over 1,400 members. How many people we got in here? We got people joining today. This is great. 1435. It's awesome, man. Boom. Be more than happy to have you guys in. And if you trade with prop firms, if you use any paid software, you want to check out Edgeful, you want to check out Bookmap, you use TradingView, you pay for TradingView like I do on the side, get your nice alerts, get the real-time data. You trade with any prop firms, hit the link below, man. Use code RDF, get you the best discount. Support me and support yourself. Nice mutually beneficial relationship there. Of course, I can't be unbiased if I stand to make money, so recognize that piece and do your own research, right? Make sure whatever you decide on is a good fit for you. That's important. I think if more people just just did that, the trading space would be a good place. recognize you're responsible for your trading decisions at the end of the day, what you spend money on, where you put risk on. Everything's a risk. But do your own research, man. Go to the websites, use links if you like, but, reach out to their support, ask a question. If you don't have a clear answer on a trading rule from a prop firm or, something to do with billing, hit them up. I do it all the time. Like the amount of times I've contacted TopstepX support, they're probably annoyed with me, what's up, Diamond? What's going on? But literally anytime I have any kind of specific question that just, I don't really have a clear answer to, I hit their support up. And at very least, if you're trading with prop firms, I think it's important to do that to get it in writing. If you're trading with any firm or any company, right, and you have a question or you're not sure about something that you want to do or whatever it is, reach out to support, get the answer first so and then you also have something to fall back on, right? If something's not clear, make it clear. And if it's not clear and you're not able to make it clear, well, maybe that's an indication that you don't want to go down that road. So that's kind of my thoughts. But, it's also a good test to see, like, if the company that you're about to give money has support, right? Like, just objectively, you probably want to have, a support team to answer a question if you have a problem or if you have a question. And if you have something simple without a real problem to ask first, it's a nice test. See how long it takes for them to respond. I like to do that with any company that I work with. And again, there's a lot of different stuff in the trading space, just like there is everywhere else. You want to be cautious. You want to do your own research. And some of those things are good practices to do. Hit their support up. Do a test run. This way, when you're waiting for a payout or you have an issue on a terminal, you can have an idea of how long it's going to take that company to respond. TopstepX support is elite. Yeah. Again, I've heard different things. I think they grew a lot this year, or last couple years maybe. And I've heard people, complain about, different things or reduced times. For me personally, again, I can only speak to my personal experience. Very quick. Always someone that answers. You got to talk to a bot first. You got to work it through that bot to get to an actual person, but never have gone with no response or anything like that. Sometimes I have to clarify. I will say that doesn't always seem like the most technically trading literate person on the other side of that message, but ask again, clarify it, write a paragraph, whatever you got to do. I've not had very great experience with TopstepX support. I felt Bulenox support was way better. Okay, there you go. Yeah. So, again, like I said, I've heard a lot of different things. I can only speak to, my experience with different stuff. And I don't have experience with that second company support. Man, this thing's not going to do it, is it? NQ, man, we're going to drift lower. I don't think I could cut this at this point, guys. I've challenged myself to hold. But this doesn't look great, I think I've got to hang on to it. At this point, if I wanted to get a stop below this low or this low, I think that's okay to do. But this does not look great. We're weak off the open. Can't get back above VWAP, on the 5-minute here on MNQ. And, we are just failing to push higher. We're consolidating quite a bit. We didn't blast lower after sweeping the lows. We cracked right back up, 40 some odd points. And we've been hanging out here for, 2 candles coming up on 10 minutes. So it's not like sellers stepped in and we just ripped our faces off and got stopped out. I do think a crack lower could be in store, but I'm going to leave this trade on, Initial thesis was we're finding support. We're headed on the way back up. We're looking for this move to continue higher, allowing room to say, okay, that's not what's happening, but we are still flowing with higher time frame structure, looking for this move to the upside to continue, bullish ahead of potential, news and information coming out into the afternoon. And that's why we have a stop loss, wide below this low, below this initial low that we had here. I won't have to get so exact with it, but yeah, 45 points or so below this initial low. 50 points. Allow room for it to come down, trade 10, 20, 30 points lower, and then buyers step in. But again, we didn't do it here. If we come lower, I do feel that we moved through this area of low volume quickly, and we potentially come down to this next level of support, get down below this low. We get down into the 400s. Again, and in that case, trade is invalidated. It's an L, added into the many others that that you'll have to take. Try to keep your head on straight and wait for the next trading opportunity. That's the game plan. Taking a look at, without changing the screen, just in case we do want to manage, taking a look at ES, kind of doing the same thing. Not as weak, chopped around the lows. I think if we get down below that low as well, looking on ES, we got some room to the downside. That could be dicey. Dow's looking bullish. Dow's looking the strongest out of all of these, testing the highs, living in its own world as usual. Cracked up at the open, and has since just continued to drift higher, back up around session highs, just a few points off of that. About 20 points off that. Looking at the Mag 7, NVIDIA dragging this down again. Down 4.5% on the day. That looks like it's got room to the downside. That does not look great for NASDAQ. Tesla down but consolidating. Microsoft down but drifting very, very ever so slightly to the upside. Same with Meta. Same with Google. Again, Apple looking strong after a gap to the downside, and Amazon's actually back in the green. So not a whole lot of confluence there. Again, not that I weight my trading decisions on all of those. It could be helpful to talk about, right? If we're trading NASDAQ, we could talk about some of the underlying stocks there. You guys might find it helpful. Maybe you're trading one of those, or you're trading ES or Dow. But appreciate you guys hopping on, man. Feel free, hit like, hit subscribe. I'm be on here every day trading with you for free. 9:30 a.m. Eastern. I'm going to try to run these for a couple hours. That's my game plan. I cut yesterday short after just watching that move occur. And again, like I said, had quite a bit of meetings into the afternoon. But I'm going to try to hang out for a couple hours. And if I end with a trade on, like I have multiple times, as I'm holding these a lot longer, I will manage. I will call out management in the free Discord, which you can get into just by clicking that link. And if I don't take a trade and I find something appealing and I have time to call it out and call out the management, I will do that in Discord as well. I didn't do that yesterday to your benefit because I went 0 for 2 yesterday. I don't mind sharing losses on trades that I don't even call out. Everybody likes to say how much money they made when they're not streaming. I'm going to share with you that when I also don't make money when I'm not streaming. But that's part of trading, man. Part of trading. Losses, losing streaks, wins, winning streaks. Keep your head on straight. Keep trading your system. Diamond says, hold, looking for longs. Yeah, man. We'll let it play out. It's going to do whatever it wants to do at this point. Sellers didn't rip it lower. Again, we test these lows. We get down below. I think we got room to the downside quickly. I think I'd be stopped out pretty quickly on this one. But I'm not going to tighten up, choke it out, and I'm not going to cap it here for $200 of potential risk saved. That's my decision, is to continue to let this thing run. Again, like I've talked about, mostly related to holding longer into the afternoon, holding winning trades longer into the afternoon. But as a whole, not actively managing these wider stop loss trades, wider take profit trades, trading off the 15-minute pretty zoomed out, will have served me better. Last week, I cut 2, or I didn't realize really nice full potential on 2 of them, and I only saved myself half an R by clipping one of the trades short to the downside. And had I just left that one alone and realized a full stop and left the other 2 ones alone, I would have done a lot better, right? It would have been better for my P&L. So it's worth noting that, you review your trades, review your management, review what you're doing, and, decide if you need to do something a little bit differently. For me, it's It's not touching stuff as much. Watching ES test the lows as well. Yeah, this looks like we are coming down. We'll see what happens around the 400s, man. Looks like I'm going to get the stop on this one. Drifting lower. Downside on the day. And again, would still look for a second long if we came all the way down lower and then started to push back up. Would be frustrated to take after taking a stop out, but something I'm willing to do. But trading below the 500s by quite a bit now. Liquidity at 450. That looks like we want to grab me. But we'll leave it on. We'll see what we get from here. Again, we slice through this level. We really start to sell off even more aggressively. Short could, obviously was the play so far. Short could be a play into the afternoon. I just didn't see the massive sell-off. The reason for a massive sell-off, just kind of breaking this recovery to the downside ahead of FOMC. Just really didn't see that. I felt either choppy or pull back and bullish based on price action and market structure. But no matter what you see and feel, you got to recognize that you do everything right? You do everything you're supposed to do. You're still going to be wrong. You're still going to have losing trades. Or you're not still going to be wrong. You're going to be right, but the market's going to just do whatever it wants to do. That's the way to think about it. You're going to have to pay that expense. Yeah, I still think I'm gonna try to not carry too much of a bias into the afternoon, but I still think a potential for support down here, and this may have just been a little bit early today, but we'll let it play out. See what we get from here. I think volume is supporting some long action now. Yeah. Again, stop loss is where it needs to be. This is a slower drift than I would like to see. This to me feels like we do come down and check this area out. We look at the 400s. Again, not going to touch it. I'll take the stop out for $430. Wait to see what happens if and when we get down here, or if it's just the stop Zach out and then we're going to rally, or if I'm wrong on direction today, and this is going to be a larger sell-off into the afternoon, pre FOMC. But probably not something I would jump right back into. Obviously, if I wanted to be long right here now on this structure, I wouldn't want my stop loss here. I wouldn't want my level of invalidation here. This tells me I'm absolutely wrong from up here, being this far down. So I'm still okay with this. Just would need to see what happens if it comes down to stop me out. If we come into this level, right? If we come into this level that I'm seeing as a potential support zone, or we start to sell off even further. But this is pretty weak on the day so far, right? Holding below VWAP. Buyers, really not able to bring this thing higher at any point. So we'll see. But like I said, guys, part of trading is just putting your trades on and accepting that you're going to take losses, accepting that you're going to take wins as well, so you don't get too jacked up when you win. You don't throw all of your risk management out the window when you start winning. But if you're operating with even a modest win rate, like let's say you're at 60%, 65%, you're still going to have to realize a lot of losses, and oftentimes consecutive losses. It seems like no matter how even back and forth it should be, they all come at the same time, right? It's back-to-back losses, back-to-back wins. You're on a hot streak. It's rough weeks, right? And I think most of it is just due to the market, being dynamic and your system not operating well in certain different market conditions. But you have to be able to accept that, you know? So I hope that part, while it's not fun, watching someone take a losing trade or, you know, or watching a trade idea not play out, I think it's important. I think it's important to recognize. And again, you know, go to an equity curve simulator, you know, look at your charts, look at the chart that states what the probability of taking X amount of consecutive losses is based on win rate, you know, even for 50% or 60% win rate. And that's doing everything right? Like, that's just the math. That's no execution errors. It's no, you know, mismanaging or anything like that. You're still going to take, you know, however many losses it is. And the consecutive one is pretty gnarly to look at. The consecutive one is pretty gnarly to look at. But that's the space we operate in, again. And I think it's what separates the traders that are able to turn a profit from everyone else. It's not, like we were talking about that earlier, it's not, you know, this crazy way to enter the market, some special tool, you know, a magic system or strategy that never takes losses or has a 95% win rate and is 2-to-1. You know, it's not out there in my humble experience. It's that they're able to accept their trades, you know, think objectively, stay calm, whether they're in big profit or big loss, and allow the trades to play out without jacking anything up, and give themselves time for their edge to play out in the market. Because if every time, you know, maybe you're me today and you take a $424 loss and you go, oh, you know what, man, I'm going to make it right back. And you jump right back in, and now you put 10 micros on instead of 2. And, you know, that's another $1,000 loss. And you go, oh, well, if I just get back to the negative 400, I'll feel good. And then you take another loss. Or, you know, or conversely, you start winning. You know, you do the same thing. You're in profit. You start adding crazy heavy. You know, you got to stick to your guns, stick to your risk management, stick to your system. And it's difficult to do. Just tapped into a bearish fair value gap. Sorry, Zach, I had to fade you. Yeah, man. Hey, listen, chat. You do what you got to do, Andre. Why does my TopstepX website keep crashing every time I press a button? It's so frustrating. I've lost money. I don't know. Hey, Zach is describing me when I lose. Yeah, you don't want to do that. I don't know. To the gentleman that just commented about TopstepX, I'm on it right now. I don't seem to be having any problems, at least yet. Everything looks good. Again, if you have issues, I would reach right out to them. I would reach right out to their support. Again, I've had, you know, certain issues. I've had the connection issue on TopstepX. Definitely not, you know, not without issue. So I'd reach out to them. That sucks if it does. Yeah, it's in a browser. This is in Chrome. I'm using Chrome right now. Fast internet. I have the fast refresh speed turned on. But there's still issues. So if you start having an issue, I would definitely probably stop trading for a bit until you're not having it, and reach out to them to see if it's like local or not. Also, they usually start talking about it like on their live stream. Here, let's actually look together. If you guys don't know, TopStep streams all day, every day. They're pretty sweet. Not that I want to lose you to their stream, but a really, really good indicator if there's a massive problem is I go right to that live stream and the chat will be blowing up, right? If it's like, you know, everybody's having an issue, everybody in the chat's going to be complaining. So yeah, doesn't look like everybody's complaining just yet. So probably localized to you. Sorry, brother. 1 minute structure looks poetic. Yeah, it doesn't look great for me in my long here, you know, right? But again, I'm not trading the 1 minute. If I watched the 1 minute all day, I'd be really, really anxious if I was trading off the 15. Traded the 1 minute plenty. The 100 tick 5 minute is pretty sweet. I really like that combo. But yeah, this is weak. This is very weak to the downside, right? When you zoom out on this, here's our open right here, 930. Downside, you know, buyers failing to take it back above the 550s. Slow, choppy move to the downside. Can we find some support after sweeping these lows again? And this turns out to be a higher time frame move, right? Look at how that trend changes when I just show you this right here. Oh, look at that. We'll see. We'll see. Again, there's probably 20 trade setups on really, really low time frames for different systems on the time that I've been on here. I'm trading off of a higher time frame, right? We're looking at these higher time frame moves, giving me a little bit more time to talk with you guys, survive some of the volatility that we've been seeing with all the political stuff going on in the U.S. and just really supports my results. I had to take a hard look in the mirror and at my results after reading and talking about those that top 25 board from TopStep and how long those guys, most of them, are holding trades for. Most guys on that board are holders. Boys are diamond hands. Not many super scalpers on there. Not many at all. So it's interesting to see that. But we'll hang out with you guys to see if we can get somewhat of a reversal here. A little bit. Again, downtrend structure so far. Weak session. Coming up on the 11 o'clock close. There is typically a little bit of volatility there as well. We'll see what that looks like. We did break the IB low to the downside, which does not make a great case for this trade. We know that here's our IB low right here, at least on the 5-minute. Here's our IB low. We know that if we break that to the downside, we typically extend, which we did a little bit there. And we typically don't come back up to break the IB high. So right now, that first stat has held true. The one that we set first breaks first, and we extend. I don't think we extended by the full amount that the average is. But I'm trading against that stat right now, right? I have to recognize that. I'm long. I would want to be long for a break of IB high. That doesn't occur often. I am in a trade that is got in before IB low broke, right? So, you have to decide how you're going to utilize that information. But I'm in a trade that would benefit from a statistic that does not play out often. So that is something that you have to recognize. Yeah, nothing crazy on Bookmap to the downside, but this is just buyers not able to take it higher. Would have loved to see, obviously, some buyers step in at a certain point here, but this just doesn't look great. That was a nice attempt to push back up, but that challenge is failing again. It's a tight stop loss below this low. If we have to come and sweep this and then a continuation, that'd be pretty tough. But this looks like sellers just want to keep taking this thing lower. And again, we break this low again after a move back up like that, take everybody out that was getting long up here, that was getting short down here. That looks like a move lower. But leave the trade on. I will be right back, guys. Be right back. I'll let my chair trade for me for a minute. Back in action with you guys here. Share didn't do too bad, but not great. Yeah, this is just going to be a hangout trade. Let it do its thing. Stop loss was decently placed. Got close on that one. Skin of my teeth. At this point you can go 35 ticks higher if you said I don't want to let it go below that low. In NQ, I like to leave quite a bit of room below a low, right? If my stop loss is going to be hold on a second. This mic's back on, right? Yeah. If my stop loss is going to be, just talking about this trade, below a low initially, right? If I'm going to go below a level of structure, and for those that hopped on late, this trade was taken much earlier with this low put in. Didn't take it. Well, actually, yeah, that's obvious. But that's not a lot of room to survive a wick below a low. And I think it does make sense if you're going to structure your trades with a stop loss below some level of structure. You should ask yourself on the front end, am I out as soon as it comes down past that low? If that's the answer to the question, your stop loss should be like right at the low, right? It should be like right down there. If the answer is no, I want to allow for a sweep of that low. I want to allow for price to come down below that low. Stop everybody else out that did that, and then continue higher. Your stop loss should be pretty decently. You should allow room. How much room, is up to you. It's maybe you can back test it, forward test it, decide, how far away you want to allow your stop loss to be. You want to allow price to come before it invalidates you, but that's not a lot of room. Like that's not enough room on NQ, in my humble opinion. 6 points, right? So like if we come down to this low, I should probably just be out because my stop loss isn't far enough to allow for a sweep of these lows and then a bounce, right? I'm not going to widen out now. Like I talked about, it's one thing that I really try not to do. You can pre-plan like averaging into a position. You can pre-plan adding in profit. One rule that I think most traders would benefit from, and I think it's really hard to make a case the other way, is moving your stop loss further away while you're in drawdown. You might as well put that thing really, really wide to start and just allow yourself that room on the front end because it becomes a really, really bad game to drag that stop loss further away. Really bad. In my humble opinion, I don't see many solid traders do that with success. I just don't. I'd rather see somebody run an emergency stop loss and say like, I don't use a stop loss. I run a stop loss way, way far away in an area that I would not like to realize, but I accept that risk. And I stop myself out. I close based on price action and market structure. Moving a stop loss up as you go. Great. Reducing risk, moving it to an area that makes sense. But I'm acknowledging that part. Like, happy that I didn't get stopped out here. Not so happy how close it got, because I don't have a lot of room should this want to come down, test these lows, and then push higher, which is a move that happens, right? We start to push up. Everybody starts getting long. Market says we're going to do what we always do and make it really difficult for everybody and come and stop everybody out that's getting long and then continue. So, it's stop loss placement. Stop loss placement. Most of the YouTube streamers are scalpers holding trades for max of 10 to 20 handles. Yeah. And it makes for fun, entertaining, trading for sure. I've scalped quite a bit myself. But I like to I've been having fun doing this with you guys. I really have. It's been a little bit refreshing change to just kind of get more zoomed out. And I think it'd be helpful to just talk about the trade as it's going on. Gives you more time to react. I think a lot of guys are on a little bit higher time frames with some success, especially traders that are holding trades. So I don't mind doing it, man. Appreciate that. We'll see. Still in this one, not doing what we need yet, not taking me out. We got a chance. We got a chance here. Again, I continue to review these trades, and there's always going to be a hindsight 2020 where you go, oh look, it gave you a chance to get out at break even, or it gave you a chance to to stop yourself out halfway to stop loss and manage and, all these different things. But you review your trades, and you decide for yourself what makes the most sense, and you try to do a little bit more of what's working, a little bit less of what's not working. And like I talked about on Monday, after some review of getting more zoomed out, even some back testing, I always love to just kind of warm up, play around on TradingView, holding these bad boys, not micromanaging them so much. I think what a lot of traders do in that regard is they start out on a higher time frame, right? And they start out looking at the 30-minute or the 1 hour, and they frame the trade based on this higher time frame, and then they put the trade on, and then they go to the 1 minute, and they go, oh man, bullish bar, bearish bar, add, close, and the initial thesis has no chance of playing out because now it turned into 1 minute trades. So there's nothing wrong with that, but nothing wrong with trading the 1 minute, but if you're going to trade the higher time frame, you probably want to let the trade play out on a higher time frame. And it's a tough thing to do. It's a tough thing to do when you're sitting here watching the market and it's chopping around and not working out right away. But we'll see. See how it plays. No higher time frame. Start stacking. Yeah. I mean, you could trade momentum that way. Really, really aggressive momentum trading. It's cool. There's guys that do it very successfully. It's just different. Just different. Price is taking some resistance at session anchored VWAP. I used to run that a lot on ES. I was an anchored VWAP guy. Ooh, we are failing to get above that, man. Yeah, so we used an anchored VWAP tool, right? An anchored volume-weighted average price, and we are struggling to get above this New York session anchored VWAP. That's not great. That's not great. Can we find some support here off of the low of the session on a low time frame? That would be good for us. We continue lower like this. Doesn't look good. Break of the low of day anchored VWAP on low time frames. Not good. Not good. No, buyers failing to take this thing higher. This looks like the drift lower, guys. Looks like a drift lower on the day. Waiting for not really waiting for FOMC, selling off. We come through this area to these lows again. I don't think I survive it. Again, leaving the trade on. Buyers trying to defend it, trying to take it higher, but repeated failures of it. Not going to FOMO out of a good trade or potentially good trade. Like I talked about, don't love having my stop loss right here. I think a wick below and then a continuation, absolutely possible. But I structured my risk the way that I structured it on the front end, and I'm going to stick to that. 11:08 a.m. So we'll have to see. But yeah, that resistance off of New York anchored VWAP, not good. Not good. Failure to get above VWAP at this point in the day, not great. Still high in yesterday's candle, but forming, bearish, at least for right now. Forming bearish. That's not great looking. Leaving the trade on, letting it ride, take the loss in stride if we have to take the loss. And, yeah, man, live to fight another day, right? Structuring our risk on the front end, knowing what we're getting ourselves into. Say, hey, man, that thing got to come down. Stop me at 424 plus some commission. I'm okay with that. I'm happy with that. I did everything I was supposed to do. Good trading day, right? And if you can, it's another, good psychology mindset piece. A lot of guys grade themselves on the P&L. And if you do that, you're going to be unhappy a lot of the time when you shouldn't be, because we know that trading and losses are a normal piece of this. Your job is to say, did I do everything I was supposed to do? Did I structure my risk in a way that I was supposed to? Did I wait for my entry and trade along with the way that, I trade consistently in the markets every day, whatever that is for you? If the answers to all those are yes, then good job. Did a great job, despite losing a trade. That's it's an important piece of it. Review, journal. You find you're taking outsized losses, back to back to back to back, tons of losses. Something maybe has changed in the market. Review. Try to identify anything that's going wrong and improve from there. Buyers can't do it yet, man. Yeah, last chance is here. Last chance is here where we don't come down to this low. We find buyers and we continue this move to the upside. That would be a nice move. We continue lower here. I think we're coming through. I don't see an instance where we come right down below this low to a tick and then bounce. Buyers here, we see structure that forms like this and then start to continue up above these highs, back to VWAP. That makes a case for this trade. Anything other than that, all the way down to these lows, I don't see it happening. Again, good thesis, good read initially, right? Everything that might play nicely on another day, but the market's going to do what it's going to do in the short term. Very unpredictable, very random in the short term, very predictable, very consistent in the long term. That's the paradox that Mark Douglas talks about. You have to accept that piece. Trying to take support at the low of day. Value VWAP may move. Yeah. Again, decision's going to be made here. I think we can go sideways for a little bit, but we come lower. I think we're headed lower. Obviously, we find some support here. Crack back up. Past the 550s into like the 560s, 570s, and start making a run towards high of the session. That'd be pretty solid. But so far, this is just downtrend structure, moving against my position. And again, I think a further push of the low would really signify lower prices being accepted. We are going to continue to move lower. But it is interesting. Again, gun to my head, speculating on certain days, something like an FOMC or news event in the afternoon, typically choppy, right? Typically choppy, maybe a little bit bullish more often than not. Maybe, I don't know how I would quantify that, but a lot of anticipation ahead of those. Markets waiting for news to come in. Market participants, don't want to be involved. Maybe you get profit taking. Maybe you get, some selling off. But typically choppy. So we got weakness today. Not too choppy. We got clean downtrend structure. Really after the open. Higher time frame still holding up. Unfortunately, I think it would still hold past my stop loss. Unless we came a lot lower past the 400s. And even then could be just a really aggressive wick down. But we'll see. See what the afternoon gives us. For sure. Again, appreciate you guys hopping on. I see some people hit the like button. Smash the like button, guys. If you're hanging out with me, smash the like button for this losing trade. This is how you get NQ to go up. If everybody hits like right now, we're going to blast off on this next candle, guys. This is how the market works, right? The market makers actually watch YouTube. They watch the algorithm. And the more likes that positions get, like depending on the live stream, that's what the market makers do. I know this because, I actually wrote the algo. So this is good stuff, guys. Oh, we got a couple likes. You saw that? Started to pop right there. No. No, but I appreciate you guys hopping on here. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to hit like. You don't have to hit subscribe. I'm going to be on here every day going forward. almost every day going forward, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Trading for NYSE session. I also run a 100% free Discord, free trading community where I answer questions, share trading ideas, talk about news. This morning, talked about FOMC, a little bit about my trading, and a great community of traders, man. Over 1,400 traders. It's awesome. Guys that have been there for quite a while, new guys that hop in all the time. You know, drastically different experience. We got guys in there that are max funded, copy trading accounts taking payouts. We got newer traders in there. It's great, man. It's awesome. So I wrote the algo Zenig, which runs the market. Yeah, you guys didn't know that? Yeah, I'm the market maker. It's me right here on my Top Step 50K account. This is it. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. Yeah, buyers trying to figure out what we're doing at this 500 level. Back and forth, back and forth. 475 got some orders on it on Bookmap. Oh, that's not good. Let me show you that. This is Bookmap, my favorite order flow tool. Let me make sure you guys can see this. I run this on the side. Obviously, I'm trading for TopstepX. I typically am not this zoomed out. That's reason for concern. I think potentially we head down to those orders and fill them. If we get down there, headed lower, potentially we crack lower. We see some volatility. That's not going to be good for my stop loss. It's down here somewhere. That is really not appetizing. I don't love that. Nice big stack of orders at 415. We'll take a look on the chart where exactly that is. Try not to crash Bookmap. Working a little bit smoother today. That came on at 11:08. Yeah, not that long ago. But that doesn't look good. That's a large stack of orders. Buy side that we may want to come into. Yeah, here's us potentially coming to grab these 475s. That doesn't look good. Above price, do we have anything stacked up? Not until we get way up here, and that's been on the book for a long period of time. Very far away. That's a concern. That's a concern. And how I might utilize that is, let's see what level it is, and we'll take a look on our chart. We got, quite a bit of buyers down at, let's say 415, 21,415. As we come down to stop me out. As we try again. Right in this area, right? Right in this, this zone. So that's concerning. I think if we crack these lows, we have a really, really good chance to head lower down to this level, coming into the 475s. Yes, this doesn't look great. Buyers tried it again, failing. I'm not going to survive a crack past these lows. And 415, a lot of orders right here. So interested to see what happens if and when we come down here. This could act as some strong support. Right? Those can be buyers stepping in to say, hey, we're ready to get involved in the market here. But initially, that may be a level that price wants to move to, right? Liquidity on the book. That's tough to have against the position. Would like to see a bunch stacked up above price. That would have been beautiful. Not surprising, right? Not surprising that it's right in this area. Very, very clear-cut level, right? Right off these highs from the last 2 days, area that we broke above, pulled back down to, and then continued. Not a bad potential area to move down to. We had these highs, this area here to move down into. No, this area over here, but that's not as strong as these lows. $446 or $444 magic number and you'll be saved. Yeah, maybe. I'm going to leave this one as it is. That's the game plan. Maybe I get to stop with you guys in the next 10 minutes. But let's talk about that coming up on a 2-hour live stream. Appreciate you guys hopping on and staying on. I'm not going anywhere just yet. Just kind of going to talk about if this thing knifes down. Obviously, I'm out. I probably will step away for a bit and not look to jump right back in. I'd set some alerts, moving lower and moving higher. If we found support and then continue to the upside, maybe I look for a second long. But at this point, looking at how this played out in the time frame, this might be the trade. Might go in for a second round here. Again, if we came down lower, found some support, around that 400 and then started to trend to the upside, we saw something like this. Maybe I look to get long with another level of invalidation, but it's on a pretty dang weak day. I need a lot of strength to show after that. I'm not going to look to enter aggressively past my stop loss. Conversely, if this trade magically starts to play out at a certain point, buyers step in, got the opportunity to try it again. And we continue the upside. I'm going to look to hold on to it. I'm going to look to hold on to it for a larger move past the overnight highs, past the prior day high. That's going to be my game plan. Probably no take profit and run it into FOMC if I'm in profit. If FOMC was coming up right now, I would close out. I'd close out right here. I don't think I would withstand the volatility that FOMC is going to bring. That's how I would handle this news. Even if I think that price is going to potentially move up, and I like the higher time frame structure, with a stop loss, 30 points below current price right now, I don't think that I'm likely to survive it. I think that price is likely to, wick in both directions or a little bit, expand, and then potentially push up. Stop loss is going to get taken out. I'm just going to realize the loss. So that's coming into the 2 p.m. Eastern time frame. By 1:45, if I'm still in drawdown and somehow not stopped out, I'm stopping myself out. If I'm in profit, depending on where I am in profit, I will also potentially close out. If I'm right around break even, do I want to run a position right into, one of the largest news events that happens frequently? Probably not. Probably just going to take it off. If I'm running in profit, the trade turns. It's working out very nicely. Market's pushing to the upside. Maybe I reduce risk. I go stop loss to break even, or stop loss under another level of structure, if I want to leave the trade on. But there's a inherent risk with news. A big inherent risk. And I made a joke, my Twitter today. You could go look at the post. Veteran traders often say, you might want to avoid news today. It's probably best just to not be in the market. And newer traders see those big candles, those massive candles on prior news events, and it looks like opportunity. And it is. But if you go in heavy, you run the risk of ruin, right? No risk, no reward, but that risk is there. So remember that. Whatever that stop loss is, have it in place. And if you're going to run a stop loss, into news, right, fairly close to price, you better be okay with some slippage. This order might not get filled at 448, right? Futures, it's pretty tight, but you can get slipped during news. Absolutely get slipped during news. What is the price for Bookmap? Let me hang on one second. I'm going to give you a link to Bookmap. Let's see. It's down in the description of the video. But here is my partner link to Bookmap. Again, it's an affiliate link. Do your own research. Bookmap is a monthly subscription. Depends on which one you get. Depends on what data you need. Depends on the discount. Depends on like 40 different things. So I'm not going to rattle off prices. But you need a subscription to Bookmap, which is a paid software, which is what this is, right? Whoa. Oh, almost killed Bookmap. This right here is a subscription. And then you need level 2 data. So you need Bookmap or Rhythmic or DX feed or some data feed. And that's also a subscription. So depends. But yeah, it's pretty sweet. Level 2 data. You can get this information, on a standard ladder. Some guys say, I don't need all this fancy heat map. I'm just going to read, depth of market standard. And that's what this is. It just displays as a heat map. And then, with this Global Plus package, the good stuff, you get a ton of other features, audible alerts, a million different types of things. I take a very simple approach to it. I just want to know we got a big stack of orders down at 74, and this makes it really easy for me. I don't want to have to pay attention to, numbers maybe without even this nice whatever you call this, histogram or something vertical. but depth of market. But yeah, check it out. Encourage you guys to check that out. Again, do I think you need Bookmap to be profitable, to make money? No. There's plenty of guys that don't use Bookmap. Just like everything else in trading. It's all about finding what works for you, what's helpful for you, right? For me, coming into futures, volume data, order flow data, it's been really cool to look at that type of stuff. I've found it very helpful. It's made me aware of some levels that I might not be aware of. Helped me structure trades, maybe hold on to things for longer, get out of things quicker that aren't working. At least be aware of other levels on the chart where we have large stacks of orders. Sometimes they're in very obvious places. Sometimes they're not. And, kind of what's happening on the book as well can give you a really good indication. Something crazy is about to happen. We see a ton of volume. We see all the orders get pulled from the book. Maybe news is coming. Like for an example, if you watch Bookmap or any depth of market, you see those algos disappear right before news. At like 1:58 p.m. today or a little bit earlier, all that liquidity right around a price is going to go dark. It gets very ominous, like the whole screen gets dark. So anyway, that's Bookmap. You check it out. Yeah, choppy, man. Choppy back and forth after the sell-off. Still in by the skin of my teeth on this one after that first pullback. Not a whole lot out of NQ after some weakness today. Again, looks okay for a pullback up, right? Doesn't look terrible. Long wicks to the downside. We found some support. Nice bullish candle forming here. Wouldn't be too bad. Turn this into a nice bullish daily candle. Gonna leave the trade on. So again, like getting closer to wrapping up. Just looking at the at the potentials for this, guys. If I'm still in drawdown, if I'm anywhere close to this, come 2 p.m., I'm out. That's my game plan. I'll realize whatever it is rather than just having to realize the full thing and then potentially get slipped. Depending on what forms, if I'm in profit, moving to the upside, trade looks good. I'd like to leave it on. And run the risk of it just knifing through my stop loss. I may reduce risk. I may take one, contract off, right? And just say, okay, a lot of volatility is potentially going to come into the market. I don't want to have 2 contracts on. I want to widen out stop loss. I may adjust, but I will call out what I do in Discord. I will do what I can to call it out in real time and let you know the game plan. If we come down to stop me out, you obviously know I got stopped. We start to run back up to the upside. I'm not touching it until we get some more structure, and I'll call it out ahead of 2 p.m. news. You'll get the price till 560. I can no guarantees in trading, man. No, we'll see. Buyers trying, right? We don't want to accept lower prices on this thing, but this is choppy again. Still downtrend structure. I try to stay objective, like whether I'm not in a position. This still is buyers failing to take this thing back up. Trying multiple times, a lot of consolidation sideways. We'll see. Higher time frame though, right? Don't look too bad. So we'll see what this has. But coming up on 11:30, 2 hours on the stream. Smash the like button if you haven't already. You don't have to do anything. Free means free, but help me out if you can see it in the kindness of your heart. If you can find that in the kindness of your heart. To beat this YouTube algorithm, which I can't ever figure out. I think I'm a better trader and have a better ability to speak about trading than I do social media. But I'll be on here yapping either way. Appreciate you guys. If you want to chat next time, hit subscribe. This way you can chat. Hop in the free Discord. Be happy to talk to you in there. Get the socials. I'm on Instagram, X. I'm here on YouTube. You can check everything out with my trading, all the fun stuff that I post. And I will see you here again tomorrow, man, for the rest of the week and for every other day the market's open going forward. I post a schedule in Discord if there's any updates as well. Trade safe today, guys. Trade well. Structure your risk. Focus on what you can control. Ahead of 2 p.m., you don't know what the market's going to do, but focus on where you're going to put that stop loss. Decide if you're going to get in the market, what that risk is going to be. On that note, with this trade and drawdown, leaving it running, talk to you in Discord on managing it. Talk to you guys later. See you tomorrow.